Hi, Vishal. Welcome to 26 Ideas Young Founders Inspiration Series. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here. I've known you for a while, but to get a chance to actually talk to you like this, it's amazing. So thank you again.
Thanks for having me, Vinay.
For everyone here, we have Vishal Rupani, co-founder at Sprect. In a very simple words, and I love the way it's described. It's the Amazon for advice. I've signed up. I am one of the advisors or mentors on the platform. It's a great medium for people who want to give back to register, be visible, engage, and obviously those seeking advice to get on board. So, Vishal, keep up the great work.
Thank you.
All right, the format is twofold. We'll try and get you six, seven questions where we'll unpack your journey, and then we'll try and put you on a spot with some rapid fire. So, if you're ready, we're ready to start.
Yeah, let's get going.
All right, you've declared war on average or mediocrity ads, in mobile ads especially. What is the first bold bet you made at mCanvas that nearly got you fired, but changed the game forever, anyways?
So I was the co-founder. Not easy to get fired, but I think I definitely tested everyone's patience. At the time, and this is sort of going back in late 2015, early 2016, mobile ads mostly meant banners, which means they were boring, they were static, and accidentally clickable, right? We said no to all of that. We built interactive formats from scratch, ads that used phone sensors which would get you to tilt, shake, swipe, and all of it. Now what we did is we explored a bold pricing idea as well here, which is the advertisers and agencies were used to paying for either views or installs or impressions, but not really for engagement, right? So we said, hey, we're going to come and do engagement. At that time, agencies thought that we are naive.
Yeah.
Publishers didn't get it. Right? One of the biggest agencies, in fact, even told us that, hey, this won't work. You guys will shut down in 2 years. But then there were brands like Mercedes, we have Coca-Cola. They came on board, and that's when everything flipped for us, and I didn't get fired.
Yeah. Pricing plays a very important role. You introduce responsible pricing models. However, what's that one pricing experiment that actually backfired? And what did it teach you about value versus vanity matrix? Because a lot of people chase vanity matrix even today.
Mhm. So I think as as a mobile ad marketplace, we changed the pricing model which I described earlier. We started charging people on advertisers on engagement instead of impressions and clicks. So then we said, hey, why not extend this to a whole different metric? We said, why not we start charging advertisers based on the time spent on an ad? Again, these were not video ads, right? These were ads that would engage people, that people could interact with. So that, hey, why not we do that? And then we'll see how long people stayed on that. To us,
Yeah.
it made a lot of sense. But when we pitched it, it kind of confused everyone, which is brands started asking us, hey, what does it mean in CPM terms? What does it mean in CPC terms? Right? Even the agencies weren't sure how do you really benchmark it, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you could get someone to spend 6, 7, 8, 10 seconds on an ad, but how do you value it? Like, and then how do you build in the trust part of it? So eventually that's a metric that we really dropped because it wasn't just because we thought it had great logic, didn't really mean it got great adoption. Again, it was new, but partly because in terms of the typical vanity metrics, right, what advertising agencies understood well, they
CPI,
wanted to
CPM,
sort of stick
CPC.
to that. And then we were like, okay, that's what the market wants. Maybe we're too early for our idea.
You moved around into three big buckets of work, right? Affinity, mCanvas, and now as a co-founder at Sprect. What's that one habit that has served you at scale, but also became a liability when you started Sprect?
I think my one word answer to that would be delegation. right? Now at mCanvas, I had large teams. So I got used to setting direction, letting others run with it. But at Sprect, right, which is early stage, that didn't really work, right? I think I
Yeah,
delegated too soon with a smaller team, of course. But in the early days, no one else really knows what good looks like, right? You have a vision, you have an
agreed.
ambition, you want to create a brand perception. Delegating all that in the early stage is kind of tricky because people will have their own interpretation of what is required. So you pretty much have to do things yourself, at least until the point your foundation is strong. That's when I think you can then start delegation.
Agree. I couldn't agree more. Expect promises human one-to-one advice in a what we believe is today or so-called AI world, right? Everybody's moving towards AI. What's that exact moment you knew people would pay for real conversations and just not content or AI answers?
Um, I think for us, before answers, it's a reach problem, right? And let me
Hmm.
explain that what I mean, which is today your DMs go unanswered, your emails get ignored, you're chasing
Absolutely.
introduction for weeks, right? And then we saw one day on the platform a student paid 9.99, right, to speak to a CMO just for 10 minutes, right? There was no
Unbelievable.
job promise, there was no clarity on what really going to take out of it, right? But that's when it clicked that hey, people are willing to pay, which is not just for content but for access. It wasn't really about a webinar, right? It wasn't about hey, take my class. It's like hey, I'm getting an opportunity to talk to someone real. That when that results in a paid client, it tells us that hey, there is a need for it, there's a market for it, even a student is willing to pay for that access.
No, fantastic. You've, as both the business you ran, you were part of, and Aspect, you've partnered and worked with large companies. I'm going to call out a few like Coca-Cola, Disney Group, and Publicis.
Mhm, mhm.
What is that one no from one of these big brands that actually taught you more than a yes ever could have?
um, so when I was working with some of these brands, obviously what we were creating for them was something innovative, something new,
Yeah,
something that would build memory for people, right? By getting them to engage and spend a whole lot of time. But with one of the ideas that we pitched to a brand, the immediate response we got from them was, hey, this feels like tech for the sake of it and not something that users want, right? They were like, we've that you guys have built something flashy, but is it really useful, right? And
yeah.
that no from the brand made us focus more on solving a problem and not showing off the fancy things we could do with these sensor integrations. It's basically a yes often like flatters us, but it's that one no that teaches you what people want. So we kind of keep going back to what people want.
All right, we're going to move to the next round, rapid fire. I'm going to ask you few questions, five at
Mhm.
best, and
Okay.
the key is whatever first comes to your mind.
Okay.
Fair? All right.
Mhm.
One
Let's go for it.
metric you tattoo on your forearm.
Well, I don't know if it's a metric, but I would say, would anyone care if we shut this down? I guess for startup entrepreneurs. And the answer is no. We've built the wrong thing. So this is even before the metric.
Makes it. If Sprect had a warning label, what would it say?
Warning label. Um, Warning. You might finally know what to do next.
Makes sense. And maybe add no AI influenced here or somewhere like that to fun, right? The cheesy one, right?
It's a good one.
Yeah. Hardest role to hire for in ad tech: product, sales, or the creative?
In adtech, definitely creative, right? You can find people who can design, who can build, who can sell. But I think it's
Yeah.
hard to find people who know what looks good and what a consumer wants. So creative.
What's that one big purchase you regretted as a founder?
Uh, Paid for an advanced analytics tool that everyone recommends, but later realized, hey, we're too small. We don't have enough data to use it.
One line pitch of Sprect to a 19-year-old, but who has $0 in the ad budget.
One line to pitch to a nine. I think, yeah, don't guess your way through it, right? Ask someone who's been there. Can do it for free.
Well, fantastic, Vishal. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. Thank you again for taking time. As both as a customer and a friend, wishing well to you and Sprect. It's a great platform to bring back human interactions versus human and AI or AI and human interactions. So best wishes again.
Thanks so much, Vinay. This was a fun conversation, and all the best to you as well.